Hello everyone, I realize it's been such a long time since I actually made a video, so I figured I'd do an updated one showing a bit more of the process for the mining rig. You know, a lot of stuff you guys actually probably haven't seen yet. Um, this right here is what you call a kilowatt. Well, that's the brand. Basically what it's doing is it's measuring the amount of electricity that's coming out of that and heading down this line here. Now, why do I have this line, this extension cord? Well, because the room that I'm in cannot support, or the office that I'm in cannot support continuous 2400 watts of power. You know, most people's houses or rooms wouldn't be able to do that. So what I'm doing is pulling power from different, what do you call it? You know, from different areas of the house, different breakers actually. That way I'm not tripping the breakers at all when I'm running my machine. So right now it's off. I don't know if you can see that, but it says 0 as far as the watts. So we have that cable. We're going to go ahead and follow it. And we'll get to my office and I'll show you all that. So I already showed you guys the first extension cord. Now here is the second. Because we need to pull from 2 different circuit breakers on top of the circuit breaker that's in my office in order to power the machine. I believe each 6 cards takes about, 6 cards is about 800 watts, which is basically the max that one single circuit breaker in a typical house, or in my case an apartment, can handle. So in order to make that work, I had to pull another extension cable from the bathroom here and run that into my office. So as you can see here, top left, you'll see the Leo, which is actually a fire notification system if any of you guys are interested. But they're kind of discontinuing. There's another brand called Roost, which is just a 9-volt battery that you go ahead and stick in your traditional fire alarm, and then if that ever goes off, you go ahead and get like an alert, like a text to your phone, pretty much similar to like when a tornado's coming or like flash flood or something. So it definitely does a very good job of notifying you if there's any issues, like a fire in your house. So as you can see, there's the cord there, and then we'll go ahead and go into the office and you can see where it all links up and meets. As you can see on the left, that is the extension cord from the bathroom. On the right there, that's the extension cord from the kitchen, and that black wire right there, well, that's the Ethernet wire. Because the only way to really wire yourself is hardwire. You know, if you're trying to do anything like hardcore on a Wi-Fi, you pretty much, have the wrong idea. So your best bet is to hardwire pretty much everything if you can. Except for like a cell phone, obviously, or maybe like a small laptop that you're not doing high-powered stuff. So here we go, we're going into the office. You got the 2 cables there. Office might be a little messy right now because I've been fixing this machine, but this is actually where the magic happens right here. So I got as you can see, I got 3 monitors there. 2 little shitty ones, and one's actually a TV. I'm not like crazy into gaming, so it doesn't have to be like a perfect, monitor system. I do some gaming, but that 40-inch TV is a HD 4K, so that does the trick. And then the 2 little monitors are just there in case I have too much going on in the first monitor, which I normally do. So I tend to split it up between 3 because I'm a multitasker and I like to do like 20, 30, 40 things at one time. I always have like, I don't know, a whole shit ton of tabs open too on my browsers, as you can see, because I'm always going back and forth and researching different things and trying to fix different things and learn different things. So here we are. Here's the rig here. As you can see, looking nice and beautiful. Actually pulled the light out of the corner there to help give it like you guys a better view of it. The last video I had on the site doesn't actually do it justice because I've added so much more to it since then. And we'll go over some of that stuff now before we turn it on and show you it working. Alright, so as you can see, I added more fans up top. Now each row of graphics cards has 5 fans to power it. The top one is actually, this here is actually one system that's 6 cards, and the bottom one is one system that's 12 cards. So one motherboard and another motherboard. So in each system has two power supplies to power it. As you can see, we have the thermometer here to make sure it's not getting too hot in the room. I believe when it's running this summer with the extra fans added and the better extra fans added and the window being open and having a faster speed of exhaust, I was able to drop the temperature down from about 90 on when the machine is running to about 85, which is actually kind of tolerable in the summer. Not for like long periods of time, but I don't have much trouble actually working in my office at that temperature. So as you can see here, we have a fan controller, and that runs the top 5 fans. I can sort of change the speed if I want. I normally just keep it all the way turned up because pretty much need it. But yeah, so that's that there. Here's the 2 power supplies. These are 2 Corsairs. I actually just did an RMA on this one because this one had a cable that burned out to it. I think I was trying to push too much power through these little SATAs. I actually had 3 graphic cards powering the risers that plug on the bottom of these graphic cards. I actually had 3 graphic cards to one of these cables because they had, I think, 4 plugs you could plug in, but it was pulling too much power, and I think that's what caused the cable to burn out and to mess up the power supply. So I actually recently got this back, like 2 months ago or so. And now instead of doing 3 graphics cards per cable, now I'm doing 2 graphics cards per cable. So it's distributing the load a lot better. That way we're not overworking one single part of the power supply. So these Corsairs actually aren't bad. I was kind of like upset that it died on me, but I'm pretty sure that could be my fault. The RMA process wasn't too bad, except I had to pay to ship it to them. And in return, they actually sent me like a 15% coupon, since I paid to ship it to them and everything. So that was kind of nice of them. As you can see, here's the on button there. So I just use this to turn on, and it plugs into those pins back there. You just got to know the proper pin out, it's called, like where to plug it in. This is actually the reset wire. So yeah, that's the top machine there, looking beautiful. I got the power strip here that connects to the kitchen extension cord with the nightlight that's normally on in case someone breaks in there. This here window where the fan is, I'll be able to see them with the light. And also we have a little camera there, make sure. This is for one of the power supplies on the top rig. This is for another power supply on the top rig, and this is for the fan. It's down there, it's exhausting the air out. While over here, we'll show you this. Obviously, we need the Cano duster. It's the best I can do here to get dust out. But my dad actually has a air compressor, which works wonders. So once a year, I take this whole big ass rig and throw it in my car, his truck, and I dust the whole thing out. Got some screws in here. Here's the temperature gun, which is really cool. You just shoot it, or it has a laser, and you just pull the trigger, and it tells you the temperature. I think that says 28 degrees Celsius. I can switch it to Fahrenheit, but I've gotten used to using Celsius, being in the IT industry, because most of the processors and temperatures are measured like that. So here's another piece here. This thing is actually supposed to help me, since there's 2 separate power supplies, it allows me to hit the power switch to turn it on, and it'll actually turn on the other power supply that's not hooked up to the board. But this thing actually broke, as you can see. Seems kind of cheaply made. It seems like the soldering came out right here. And all I was trying to do was remove a Molex connection, and it just, pulled right out. So that could be another problem. But, there's a power on self tool that I'm using instead to keep this bottom rig running. As you can see here, we added the fans to the bottom. I don't think you guys got to see that in the last video, or you may have, but they're all nice and perfect now and hooked up to these slotted bars, so I can easily remove them at any point. Just take this off and unplug all these cables here. As you can see, I also have the what do you call it, the fan controller here. Make sure the fans are always at the top speed, so they're getting the best cooling. So this is the big motherboard, the one that can take 12 graphics cards. The one up top that I showed you before, that's only 6 graphic cards. You got 2 huge power supplies. They're both 1600 watts a piece that they can do. They're titanium power supplies, so they're highly efficient. I believe they're like 96% efficient. So like if you had a bronze power supply, it would only be 80% efficient. If you had a gold power supply, it might be 90% efficient. And what that means is, you're drawing more energy than you're actually making use of in your machine. So, as you can see, there's a lot of wires here going left and right, but everything connects perfectly. Got the fan controller connected to some stuff down here. Here's the power switch again. This is the actual on switch for the rig, but these 2 power supplies need to be clicked on as well. And this one back here, since it's not plugged into this board, it has the power on self-test tool, which is basically just a little thing you put on the end of the 24-pin motherboard connector, and it just it activates 2 pins in there, which can basically tells us to turn on when it senses that other things have power from the motherboard. So this one actually just came back from RMA. It also got burnt for probably pretty much the same reason as the other ones. Too much power coming through these, too many cards on one of these cables. So now I have 1 cable with 2 cards. So, and that's the way it works for both the top rig and this rig. So now that this is back from RMA, it's actually an EVGA. I was a little worried I was going to get like a repaired version, but they actually sent me from what I can tell, like a brand new version. Even though they told me on the phone that I was getting a like a refurb, because this right here, this power supply right now, if you bought it, it'd be like $500. I think I got it like 400. 2 years ago, both of them 400. But so as you can see, a lot has changed. I got little feet down here, keep it level. All these fans keep it nice and cool, which dropped the temperature this summer, so it was nice and it was nice, and it was still warm, but I could still work in here comfortably. But yeah, so everything's back hooked up. I tested it out earlier. Everything's working. The RMA process for this was almost a month, so it kind of sucks. And then same thing for the Corsair. So, but now that the load is all balanced out, I don't think I'll have that kind of problem anymore. And I also have better cooling with the extra. I got regular fans pushing on the rig, and then I got these computer fans, as you can tell. And then in the back there, yeah, you can probably see it. There is the wall fan, or the window fan, that's pushing the air out. So that's why I need the camera there, because I'm unable to lock that. But I do have a window alarm, and I do have the camera pointed at it with adequate light in the room to illuminate anyone, if they were to actually try and come in. But in order to do that, they'd have to get past this huge freaking thing. So I'm pretty sure it would be a little hard. And I've had that window open like that since I moved in for at least a few years. So I'm not too worried, but always better safe than sorry is the way I like to look at it. Alright, so one last thing I guess I'll show you guys is the screen that I'm putting on it. Now, I do have cats, and the cats, I've noticed when I took the rig to my dad's to use the air compressor, I noticed the cards were full of cat hair. So I got what's basically like screening material that people would use to like rescreen a window or like a porch screen door. So I'm actually using that to help keep the cat hair out of the machine. It's not going to keep the dust out, but it will keep a lot of the hair out, which is ultimately what's going to hurt the machine more. You know, the dust it can pretty much handle. As long as you clean it out every, so often, maybe once a year or twice a year, it'll be fine. Computers are built to last these days, so unless you abuse it, you shouldn't have any issues. So everything's all plugged in and ready to go. I'm going to put the screen on, and then I'm going to show you guys exactly, what that looks like before I give it the start and show you what it looks like running. All right, cool. And as promised, here's what it looks like with the screen on it. It's just, feels like metalish, but it's, flexible. Sort of the same kind of stuff you'd have on your Windows screens or your screen doors. I use these this pair of old shoes to hold it down. Keep it in front of the machine because the fans actually push the cat hair right into it, keeping it away from the graphics cards and the rest of the machine, which is great. All I gotta do is every once in a while come in with a wet paper towel and just wipe it, and then all the dust and hair comes off with it. So this is actually a pretty good idea. I was gonna box it, and put it in there. Maybe one day I will, but this is actually working pretty good the way it is. As long as I, dust it out once a year with the air compressor, I think it'll be okay. So, yeah, that's the finished product. Like I said, it's a lot different than the way it was in the last video. And unfortunately, it took me about a year, maybe a little bit more than a year, to take the time to make another video to show it to you guys. I was just dealing with some stuff at work. Not quite too happy right now. Was a bit depressed. Searching for a new job right now with a bit more responsibility. That's a bit more of a challenge and maybe pays a little bit more. So hopefully, I can find something and get out of this rut that I've been in, and keep on moving. Because at one point I was making tons of videos, and now it's like I barely ever want to do it. Part of the reason is because it takes forever to actually edit the videos. This is actually where I would do all that editing right here. Like I said, it takes like hours upon hours to edit videos sometimes. So, but this is where all the magic happens. This is where the video gets edited. And here's the machine, looking quite beautiful, majestic. And I'm gonna turn it on for you guys so you can see. And then you can see how loud it gets too. Okay guys, here, not to talk a little louder, but as you can tell, it's pretty loud in here right now. I have two fans behind me pushing towards this rig here. The two fans are set to the highest setting. I just turned it on and it's mining right now perfectly. There's no issues. All 18 graphics cards are running properly. There's 6 graphics cards here and there's 12 plugged in down here. We also got the screen going, as you can see, and the temperature should still be pretty low because we really haven't ran it that long, and we have very good airflow and circulation right now. The window fan is also on. You see that red light back there? He's exhausting out the back. And yeah, like I said, after I'm done with this video, I'm going to go ahead and try to edit it, which is going to take me hours to do, but it'll be worth it to give you guys a little show. And I do apologize for being away for so long. I recently created a Facebook page too, where you can actually request services from me, and I can do different things for you if you need like security systems hooked up or anything like that. I can do remote work to your computers, virus removals, whatever. I could also do make tutorial videos as well. But yeah, so after I'm done with this, I'm going to go to editing, and here's exactly where all the magic happens. A little messy, but you know, you got those 3 monitors, which is very important. As you can see here, we have 2 rigs up and running nice and beautifully on the 40-inch TV. I can come in here and change settings at any point. This is a Linux-based operating system that's running from a USB. I can come in here and I can change the overclocking, underclocking, undervolting. Undervolting is very important because that makes your power be less that you draw, so you're not paying as much to the power company. So, and now here is the 12-card rig. These are not correct, and I believe that's just because it's an older motherboard that they don't have the right values. But as you can see down here, we're finding shares. These are just the green there. We have 0 rejected shares, and we're mining at, the 12-card rig is mining at 361 mega hash per second. The 6-card rig is up and running at 182 about mega hash per second. Found 10 shares so far, 0 rejected. These numbers here are actually accurate. So, but this is not 100% accurate. That is the power given from one of the powered devices. Basically, the graphics card is plugged into like 3 different things, getting power from like 3 different things. So, the riser, the plug itself from the power supply, and what's the other one? The motherboard is actually supplying some power to it as well. So that number is not accurate also, but the temperatures here are, which is nice. These are very nice temperatures, very low temperatures. So again, guys, thanks for being here and sticking around. And sorry I've been gone for so long, but now we're back up and running.